Hello, hello, ladies and gents. Welcome back to OS Live, where we bring you the second match of the second week of the group stage. I believe this is one of the most heated matchups, funnily enough, given how it's only the second matchup of this group. I believe this is the second ever match of Group A, and it's going to be between Norway and Austria. Now, these two teams are very interesting because this is one of the demon groups of the challenger side of the group stage, and that's because China as a team, arguably seed 9, arguably the strongest team overall in the entirety of the group stage. So going into this kind of matchup, it's really going to be the big fight for second place, and the big fight to get into that upper side of the round of 16. My name is Gammy Crayola, and joining me in the VC, joining me in the commentary booth is gonna be the lovely Mavs. Mavs, how are you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing amazing, Gammy. Thank you for the introduction. Yeah, big match today for both of these teams. Both of their first matches of the tournament so far in the group stage here. Seed 13 and Seed 17, as you mentioned, it's going to be a big fight, I think, for that second place in this group. And already, we're getting straight into the bands, instantly getting out of the way. Austria taking out the Nomad 4 and that hidden 1. Sorry, Nomad... They pick Nomad 5, excuse me. They take out the hidden 1, and the ban out from Norway is going to be that free mod 2. So, as we were talking about in the pre-match, weirdly enough, Norway looking like the, far superior team when it comes to speed, but Austria, on the other hand, extremely good at flow aim in general. So getting rid of those streams, they had a huge 3.7 mil on the Nomad 2 in the qualifiers. So getting rid of any streams, any flow aim away from Austria is going to be Norway's strategy. And early on, going in for Austria's first pick here, and it's going to be the Nomad 5.
Yeah, both teams wasting no time whatsoever. I believe Norway does have a matchup after this, so perhaps they want to get things over and done with quick. But with that said, this is, I believe, my first time seeing this Nomad 5 being played in a match. Letter to the Black World. This is a custom map by Op in Osu, or 0PP in Osu. This is a CS 7.4, precision gimmick map. It's kind of a funny thing, Mavs, to see two gimmick maps in your Nomad pool, but I think this is a phenomenal map. I mean, I've been having an absolute blast playing this map, and I'm personally very, very interested to see how these two teams perform when it comes to, Nomad precision, because we've seen Hard Rock precision being played before, in the qualifiers, of course, but Nomad precision, it's well, not completely different from your standard Hard Rock 2. It does, give you some more leniency when it comes to the reaction time, just given the AR9 nature. I will say precision is perhaps one of those skill sets that definitely benefits from having that lower AR to work with, because you have more time to position your cursor. But at the end of the day, I think this is definitely a map where consistency is key, especially given the short drain of this kind of map.
Yeah, it should be interesting for sure, especially because when it comes to the precision generally being in that Hard Rock 2 slot in a lot of pools, a lot of Hard Rock players may not be comfortable on something like an AR9. In fact, I would say most Hard Rock mains in general probably do not like playing AR9. In fact, they probably despise it. So when you jump into a map like this, CS 7.4 on that AR9 in the Nomad pool, as you mentioned, might be interesting. Might see some swaps out of players that you wouldn't expect to generally see on high CS, but here we are, loading into the first map, first pick from Austria, and with how highly contentious this match is going to be, and we expect it to be, you're hoping they can take their first pick here. I'm hoping for a close one personally, and here we go. It's going to be a bit of a volatile map to kick things off, I would say. The high CS AR9 map, very easy to find random misses, and here we go.
Yeah, volatile in the mapping, volatile in the drain. Any sort of large combo, any sort of miss is gonna matter a lot. You already, right off the bat, get to see what this map is all about. A lot of weird sliders as well, which could definitely trip you up. Normally, on a higher CS, it's these patterns, you can typically just cheese them, but, on CS 7.4, it's definitely not the same story. As you move past that first quarter of the map, still 4-4 in terms of FCs, nobody in the lobby finding any sort of early miss, but as we slowly but surely inch towards that first KI, that's definitely where we're expecting to see some blood spill. But it's just a stalemate, but never mind. Anthony W gonna be the first one to go down, and Austria instantly gonna take that score lead against their adversaries.
Oh, Tomadoy, though, is there to trade. Anthony W's miss. So small lead still in favor of Austria, but not anymore. Tepi finding the break. 2 FCs still for Austria now as we've reached that halfway point. Norway holding onto this three-way. Melva, Nineric, and Yolkspie, 3 of the big names for this Norwegian roster. Still holding on for them in this No Mod 5, and starting to approach the ending, seeing the classic Melva shakes start to come in as well. As here we go, Gabby, getting into this harder section. There goes Melva on the shakes, finding the break. 2 FCs to 2 now, moving into this ending final quarter of the map.
Yeah, that's right. Tomadoy and Tepi are on the pursuit for that scoreline. Melva's misses are not going to do them any favors, but D10 is going to put a stop to that chase, and unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be enough. Yolkspie and Nineric 700 combo hand in hand, looking to go all the way on this No Mod 5 Fedora Goose. I mean, try as he may, it's not going to be enough to topple them just yet, and that first point is going to be a break point for Norway.
Yeah, huge break point coming in early on for Norway here. The 2 big names, I would say, for Norway, Yolkspie and Nineric, coming out with the FCs. Fedora Goose, probably the biggest name for Austria as well, putting up a humongous score for them. Z10A right there with the S rank, but just barely not enough for them to take their first pick. 4 S ranks on the board, and I mean, that's going to be a huge break point for Austria now. It's only a best of only a best of 9, so you want to get one back.
And I mean, like, Mavs, I have to say this, but, you know, I was thinking a little bit more about this pick when we were inside the map, and I really, really like the idea that Austria was going for this No Mod 5 pick, right? Because it is a map that is very, very difficult to play under nerf. CS 7.4, when you're shaking, that's where you struggle, and we just saw that with Melva during the map itself. But surprisingly enough, it seems as though their plan has just been turned on their head as Norway just brought up more consistency. I definitely think that was a pick that could have swung either way, but again, the volatility of the map speaks for itself, right? And that's the kind of risk that you need to take with a first pick. And unfortunately, it just did not go their way. But it's onto the drawing board for Norway. They're looking to convert this breakpoint into a lead. Any thoughts from you, Mavs?
Well, we can go back to the bans, and you know, Austria took out Hidden 1, which is kind of like a bit of a well-rounded swing techie finger control map, and they get rid of that instead of getting rid of speed, which, to be honest, I'm not saying Austria doesn't have a capable speed roster, but Norway in the qualifiers on speed were phenomenal, and I don't think that's something you want to leave open against Norway, and I think they're going to go right into that here in a bit, probably into something like a DT2, or perhaps an No Mod 2, which is fairly speedy this week, so yeah, gonna be scary, I think, for Austria going into those maps.
Yeah, I can't help but feel a bit apprehensive about the fact that Austria really left these speed maps open because of how dangerous Norway is, right? You know, you look at your opponents and you see Nineric on your team, like one of the best tournament speed players of all time. Like, okay, what are we doing? But I definitely think that this perhaps comes from a place of, you know, they're thinking that because it's low SR, they might be able to just barely inch out a point on these speed picks. Because we have seen No Mod 2 and DT2 in particular be some of these maps where you kind of just see 4-way FCs across the board, right? You see 4 FCs per team, and the first player who misses just instantly loses them the entire map. So perhaps Austria is looking for that kind of angle of attack, and interestingly enough, Mavs, it looks like we're gonna see a timeout early on from Team Norway.
Yeah, interesting to see a timeout this early. Perhaps something going wrong on their side there with one of the players, but this gives us a little more time to talk about, I think, the strategy here. And yeah, as we were mentioning, extremely strong speed roster. Nineric, obviously the obvious one, as you mentioned, for Norway, but also Penguinzi, who is actually a returning player for them, playing previously for 4 years and then stepping out for 1 year. Not sure if that was by choice or not, but back this year for Norway and in for that speed, as well as Hondor. Very good speed scores from all 3 of these players in the qualifiers. So yeah, it's a good point you make though, with the fact that it is a low star rating pool. We are in the group stage, so Austria absolutely are going to be capable on something like this. You know, they are seed 17 in the tournament. That's no joke. I think pretty much any team in the top, you know, 32, I would say, maybe a little bit lower, are going to be very capable on a lot of these maps and are mostly going to have 4-man rosters for a lot of skill sets. But regardless, here we go. the pick's going to come out and it's not going to be speed just yet. That doesn't mean they're not going to pick it, maybe saving it for a little bit later. But it is going to be Hidden 2 to come out, and Norway, historically, have always been very, very good at AR8 Hidden. And here we go, they're picking it up here.
Yeah, I think Dio put it extremely well during the seed review. He basically described Norway as a team that has very, very good contrasting ends of the spectrum. They have very good players on contrasting ends of the spectrum. You have Nineric, who basically covers all of your mechanics, and then you have players such as Yoxpai and Anthony W, who basically patch up everything on the gimmick end. This is definitely one of those maps, and I think Norway is really playing into their strengths because for what it's worth, Austria doesn't have a particular strength towards either mechanics or hidden or gimmick for that matter, right? And so Norway basically has two free avenues of attack as long as they don't go into a flowway map. I mean, they've already banned out the free mod too, so it's not like they have any sort of, you know, easy landmines that... It's not like Austria can set up any easy landmines for them to step into. And if we're gonna do a quick comparison to perhaps the qualifiers Hidden 2, it's interesting to note that despite the fact that Austria did rank higher than Norway overall in the Hidden 2, that placement on Hidden 2, I believe they got 20th in comparison to Norway's 25, was just solely off the back of Tepi Fangirl's 966k score. Because for the record, the rest of the team did not get a score above 300k. But you compare that to Norway, who had a much better average across the board, with both Yoxpai and Anthony being the battery for them in that Hidden 2. So I don't want to say that this is a pick that heavily favors Norway just off the back of these two carry players, but I think from a roster depth perspective, right, this looks much better for Norway, especially given the fact that it is still low SR. You're expecting more accessibility from the entire lobby.
Yeah, I agree. It's almost funny to see like Austria outscoring Norway on that Hidden 2, and it's worth mentioning as well, not a single score over 300k from any player in Austria besides Tepi Fangirl. Not on just one of the runs, but on both of the runs. No one managing to get over 300k, but Tepi Fangirl getting 760k and 960k on both of the runs. So no fluke. Tepi Fangirl is just that person on low AR, I guess, and here we're gonna see them step into the lobby alongside the rest of the team. Hoping I haven't cursed them out too hard here, but Norway, their pick, of course, and it is low SR. We're in group stage, very different difficulty levels when it comes to low AR. Many players are going to be way more comfortable on a map like this, which is fairly generic for an AR8. There's nothing crazy in this map. Consistency, reading test, and here we go. If you can play AR8 even a little bit, you're probably going to be able to play this map to some degree.
Yeah, I believe this is one of Funny's first tournament maps in general, and it's really, really indicative, or, you know, it really foreshadows the style that he will later on be known for. But already early days in the map, we see some early misses from both Nineric and Tepi, but a lot more to be desired as the players are slowly getting warm, slowly getting used to that AR8 Hidden. And really, at the end of the day, maps, I think this map is mainly gonna be about that consistency. Tomadoi finding a bunch of misses, but it's gonna be traded out by Melva. We get into that KI, and now Tepi is the deciding factor. He's now the win condition for Team Austria. He's looking to bring that score slowly but surely back, and with that miss from Melva, a bunch of chain misses, a bunch of accuracy drops, it's looking more and more doable. And with Anthony, one of the anchors of Norway, going down, Fedora Goose and Tepi Fangirl have the entire scoreboard at their disposal.
Yeah, more than the entire scoreboard. I mean, this is just domination so far in this Hidden 2 as we approach this halfway point into the more difficult stream section, and all FCs on Austria are holding alongside Yoxpai, the low AR staple for this Norwegian roster, holding on solely. But there goes Tepi Fangirl, the big low AR player for Austria, going down, but it doesn't matter. Fedora Goose and Tepi are still there to hold on to these FCs. Tepi with a reverse choke, but practically the FC at this point. And they have a 300k lead into this final third of the map. This is looking already pretty sealed.
Yeah, Austria is looking very, very secure going into this final quarter of the map. Of course, I mean, I don't want to say it's over just yet, especially with that miss coming in from Tepi, but it's looking tougher and tougher for Norway. Oh, never mind. Bancho missed. Tepi's back in the game. Oh, was that a real one? I think that was a real one, map. But Fedora Goose goes down. Hold up. Call the phone. Ring the phone. Because Yoxpai is looking to take the score all the way back. Pause. Last 8th of the map. That scoreline is crashing all the way down, but is it going to go down in time? Chain misses just come in all across the room. It's 40k, 30k, 20k, and then slips over to the left side. Yolkspy, what are you doing, you demon?
Yolkspy does it for Norway. In the final 15 seconds of the map, a collapse from Austria, and it costs them the break point right back that they needed so desperately. Yolkspy says no. The low AR veteran for Norway holds on in the group stage and FC's the Hidden 2 alongside the S rank with Anthony W, and it's enough to get their first pick. I thought that was done. I thought that was sealed at that break, Gammy, but Yolkspy's alive. We forgot.
Yeah, my bad. Yolkspy on Hidden 2. Insert Yolkspy doubters on Hidden 2. Thank you, everyone. But for what it's worth, there's going to be another point on the board for Norway, taking an early lead during this matchup. I think they must definitely be feeling very, very happy about that. Albeit, you know, that Hidden 2 pick was kind of on a slippery slope, if I do say so myself. I mean, it was definitely looking very Austria favored until Yolkspy and Anthony just decided to lock in. But I mean, for what it's worth, I mean, that's going to be the story for this entire matchup. It's going to be a lot of anticipated close picks, but going to the Hidden 3,
Yeah, DT3 coming out here for...
DT3? Yeah, DT3.
Austria, yeah. So, I mean, interestingly, out of the qualifiers, I believe Austria winning the DT3, but it was more of like an old style alt map in comparison to this one, which isn't really old style, but it is like snap ulti. So they do have that going for them. We did previously mention Austria very good on the flow aim. Just on almost all of the maps they won out of qualifiers were flowy in comparison to Norway not doing quite as well on them as Austria did. But this one's going to be more snap styled, so we'll see how it pans out for Austria. Still could be a fairly solid pick. I don't think they have as much choice in this map pool as compared to Norway, so we got to go for something, right? I don't think this is a bad pick. We'll see how it's going to pan out for them though.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it is a bad pick, especially when you're going up against such a monolith such as Norway, right? You really don't want to pick into any of the avenues that we were talking before. You don't want to go into hard mechanics, you don't want to go into gimmick, because that's what you're expecting from Team Norway. So I think this is a pretty solid pick from Team Austria, especially from a overall gameplay, overall strategic standpoint. They are looking to test the waters as we move into the mid game of this matchup with a rather unique pick overall. I am personally very, very excited to see this map, Marvs. I love Flask. I love this song. We need my Chinese song rap in my OS World Cup. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. And this is such a unique map, right? A lot of weird angles, a lot of weird patterns, and the aim itself is just extremely awkward overall. Very, very unique pick to see in your double time 3. But yeah, roster swaps looking from both sides.
And I love some Flask mapping. Big fan of his mapping style as well. But gonna see this big 3-man core for Austria coming in. Fedora goes Z10A and Z9A. And would say similarly for Norway, but Yoke's gonna be stepping out, as he generally would for the more heavy mechanics picks. Nineric, Anthony W staying in, 2 of these staple players for Norway, as well as Malva. Paper Candle coming in for them. And we're going to have Akuma no Tenchi coming in for Austria. So here we go into this DT3. Going to be a fairly comfortable AR as well, worth mentioning. Maps in this slot generally can sometimes be quite difficult when they're on the higher end of the approach rate, like 10.3 or higher. But this one should be fairly comfortable, I think, for most players.
Yeah, and it's comfort definitely what we need coming from a AR8 map. But we're gonna get into, you know, a bit of a more active section. The aim, the map itself is starting to heat up, and Paper Candle is looking to get burned away early on. But still early days, you know. But I'm just a bit worried about that scoreline, especially given the short drain. But Fedora Goose is going to trade things up. We're currently 3-3. Accuracy-wise, it looks to slightly lean in favor of the red side, but really nothing much. Not a lot of action happening right now, and we are really just gonna have to wait for that first miss to come up.
Yeah, I mean, this 20k score lead really being built mainly from the 40 combo advantage that Norway has, but there goes Z9A, and now that score lead is going to start to skyrocket as we as we get over halfway through the map. So that was a miss from Z9A, and Still 3 FCs intact for Norway, as well as this recovery from Paper Candle. This is going to be a mission for Austria to pull back. The map's not that long, Gammy, and no one on Norway is finding a break.
Yeah, but we're getting into the hardest section of the map. Paper Candle is going to be the first one to go down as we move into the instrumental interview. Last of the map, it needs to happen now. Melva going to trade with Z10, and Nerek is going to go down. Pause. Are we seeing a repeat of the past? Fedora Goose now the determining factor for Austria in this scoreline. 500 combo on the recovery. Anthony W, the only one looking to hold back the floodgates, but that score is gonna shift, and it's gonna shift fast, especially if Anthony W falters now. But there's no room for error for Austria, and unfortunately, they do not survive. Akumano Tenshi finds that miss, and Norway gonna walk away with yet another point to their name, Mavs.
A huge point. Anthony W, another one of the rocks for Norway, holds on for them. It was Yokespire last map. This map, it's Anthony W to hold on with that huge FC. Neneric right there as well with the 820k. The whole team really putting up solid scores, good scores across the entire board, but that FC really just was the difference in the end. Fedora Goose very close with the S rank. Akumano Tenshi as well. Just the one miss in the ending. It was not meant to be, and man, this doesn't feel like a 3-0 match so far, I'll tell you that much.
Oh, really doesn't.
Norway,
really doesn't.
kind of getting away with murder on some of these picks. OWC nerves, I guess. You do.
Daylight robbery, daylight highway robbery, dude. They're just, you know, beating Austria down and running a mile with the score lead right now, and Norway's already 1 point from match point. It's gonna be Norway's next pick, and I think here is where we're expecting to see a double time, right? If they don't go for a double time here, or a no more 2 pick, you know, the 2 speed picks that are up for pickings, or up for the pickings, I think Norway is probably just gonna be looking to save them for a later stage, perhaps to guarantee a final point for themselves, but I really don't see any need to do so. They have such a clearly telegraphed 2 points to take them all the way to that 5 score point line, so I'm gonna have to wait and see what they're gonna go for. Looks like they're gonna once again take some time to think.
I think it's just got to be DT2 here. I mean, you've got No Mod 2 as an option, of course. It is like a 230 BPM, more stamina style pick rather than raw speed. But this DT2, just with how convincingly dominant they were on speed in the qualifiers over Austria, it just seems like a no-brainer to me to go DT2. I would be very surprised to see anything else, I think, here. Definitely,
but I guess, they just
go for him on
wait.
Okay.
Wait.
Okay, I'm very surprised.
I'm thinking, Babs. Talk to me about this.
I mean, I'm surprised. I mean, this is just like a very short tech pick. I mean, okay, not only did I expect DT2, but this is like a map I didn't expect, because you're picking a sub 2 minute tech pick, which is maybe one of the most volatile skill sets you could pick. And it's less than 2 minutes. So if you wanted something to be as RNG as possible, it might be something like this. But they go for the free mod 1 regardless. I'm not going to doubt them. Norway are good at tech as well. But yeah, very volatile, and they could randomly just lose a map like this, especially because it's so short.
Right, and I like to, arrow back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the match, right? Where you were basically talking about how Austria is incredibly gifted when it comes to the flow aim. I mean, Eyes on Me is not a strictly flow aim built map, but there is a lot of flow aim just by nature of Jazak's mapping style. Rip Jazak, you will be missed. A lot of circle tech, a lot of weird avenues for breaking across the board, and as you mentioned, this map hits underneath that 2 minute threshold. It's so volatile once again, right? This is a coin flip of coin flips, as coin flip as a control pick can get. Oh man, yeah. I really wonder what Norway is trying to go for here. Perhaps they're looking to just ride that train of momentum all the way to Team Australia, or perhaps given how they do have a match going up against China later on in the weekend, perhaps they're trying to hype their scores, and so for that reason they're looking to go into a map that they're perhaps not as comfortable in. I really don't know.
Yeah. I mean, someone mentioned that in chat. I think that is definitely a possibility. Norway could just be trying to hide their speed picks against China. They must feel confident in winning this match. I still don't know if I necessarily agree with the strategy, because these 3 points they've gotten have been mostly very close, and this could backfire. But, you know, if Austria do get a point on the board, Norway can still just pick the speed pick, like, later, so it shouldn't be a big deal. I think I think that's probably the strategy they are going for. That does make sense. They want to try and beat China. But, yeah, so we're going to get the free mod 1 here instead. And, are we going to see any overmodding? Doesn't look like it. Aside from just the hidden hard rock with Nineric, but I mean, that's probably just comfort.
Preference.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right. Looks like where rosters are concerned, Norway are going to once again bring in Yolkspy for the hidden. Meanwhile, Austria, I believe we are only going to see the introduction of Tomadoy for the hidden as well. So both hidden specialists coming in for both of these countries. I think the main thing to look out for definitely is going to be the no mod. Modded control tends to be a lot more difficult than modded control itself, and so you're definitely looking out for the no mod anchors across the board, right? Nineric gonna find an early miss, you know, probably just gonna shake off those nerves, and you know, with that, without further ado, let's jump straight into Eyes on Me. Gonna be 1 minute and 48 seconds of just pure tech slop, for lack of a better term. Let's jump straight into it.
Here we go, and already as we get into the first difficult section, we're already almost halfway through this map. Anthony W finding a break right before this Ki. Austria holding on to their four-way. We talked about how short this map is. Z9A does find a break. That's a big miss to find right in the middle of the map. Anyone who can get through this Ki section is going to be looking really good moving forward through the rest of the map, and Austria are doing it with a three-way intact. There it is, Z9A is there to miss again, but that's the hard rock player, and that's the combo that didn't really matter for Austria, but Norway all get through it. 2 recovery combos from Anthony W and Nineric is on that hidden hard rock, so he's going to have the bonus score as well.
Yeah, that all these players currently, especially the players from Norway, going to be rewarded with some handsome free combos. A 50k scoreline in favor of Team Norway, but here is where things can happen. The scoreline is still competitive, and it's all going to be about the flow aim at this juncture. Tomadoy going to find the miss, but so does Nineric. But it's going to continue to perpetuate that score lead in favor of Norway, as they're now staring down 3 large combos. Yolkspy Melva with the anchor of the FC, and Anthony right behind them with the 600 recovery. And as D10 and Fedora Goose both go down, they will take no prisoners. Norway take yet another point of Team Austria and go to match point.
Yeah, incredibly well done from Norway. Shut me up real quick. I doubted the pick.
Yeah, my bad. I don't know ball. I don't know ball.
We don't know ball, clearly, because they won that one by a more convincing margin than any map so far in this match. And yeah, I mean, that's just how that type of map be. Austria, all with a few misses on each of their players, most likely just chain misses if you were to go back and look at the individual misses on a map like this. Just very volatile, and Norway come out on top this time around, looking more consistent across the board. Nothing lower than 660,000 points. Very well done from them. And Yolkspy again for Norway, the biggest score on their side, doing work for them this match. And match point now for Norway, as Austria have one final chance to get a point on the board here.
Oh man, and I think the current board state that we're looking at right now could really be explained by the fact that this is low SR. This is the nature of group stages, the nature of the round. Norway, when you lower down the SR, a lot of their rough edges begin to smoothen out, and we're definitely looking at a much more consistent team performance overall, and a much more overall consistent performance from all of their players, especially when you compare that to Team Austria that just can't seem to get the consistency down and rooted. When it was at a higher SR, I mean, they could get away with it with their carries, but when when the SR is so low, when accessibility and consistency is king, there's not really a lot of places where you can hide. And finally, Mavs, we see that fabled No Mod 2. We see the fabled speed bit come out from Norway. Oh, is this
no, Austria actually picked this.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait. I missed it. Wait, yeah, no, I was misspeaking. I didn't expect this. Wait.
I didn't expect this either, but I guess...
That's very pause.
Yeah.
This is the strat. Austria's preying on Norway's downfall, so they're picking a speed map into Norway so that they can uncover the No Mod 2. Stop.
They can uncover the No Mod. They're doing a solid for China. No, but I mean, realistically, I guess something worth mentioning out of qualifiers was Austria kind of slapped Norway on No Mod 2, but it wasn't speed, of course, in the qualities. It was like flow aim streams and stamina. This is the type of map where, although it is kind of speedy, it also is very stamina intensive, and it is only 230 BPM, so especially at a lower star rating, something that Austria probably is going to feel fairly comfortable playing because it's probably not speedy enough for them to feel like they're going to get, you know, completely gapped by Norway. But at the same time, I do still think Norway have an advantage on something like this. However, DT2, on the other hand, is going to be, I think, much more convincing for Norway. So I guess this is more closer to that middle ground of, you know, the pick between flow aim, stamina streams, and also kind of speed, like raw speed. It's kind of in that middle ground. So maybe that's the reasoning they go for this one. I still think Norway are going to be favored.
Let's be so real, Mavs. You can talk all day about what the potential strategy is from both of these teams, but you know, I mean, this is Austria's first point. You know, perhaps speed was the key at the end of the day. We're gonna see Honda being the substitute for Anthony W for the Norwegian roster, and it looks like on the right side we're gonna see the revisit from Akumano Tenchi on this No Mod 2. As you were talking about, Mavs, this is the second highest BPM, or at least the second highest BPM speed check in this pool. And I think it's gonna be more about the consistency across the board, right? I do think that, you know, in the middling sections of the map, there are, you know, quite a lot of kick sliders, which will test your reading, will test your nerve control here and there. But I think the main attraction is gonna be those 230 BPM stream/burst. But, you know, going up against Norway, oh man, I don't think any country wants to go up against Mr. Nineric when you are on speed. But we'll have to wait and see. Here we go.
Yeah, you really do not want to be going up against a player like Nineric. And here we go early on. Condor, Paper Candle, finding misses for Norway. Austria holding on to that four-way, but... Well, I was going to say we got quite a bit of map left, but this is only 2 minutes 20. Also not a very long map. So these early misses are going to matter. And there goes Akumano Tenchi for Austria, as rest of the combos do remain intact for them. Akumano Tenchi again to miss, not the one that's going to matter for them, but there goes Hundor. Big opening for Austria now. So we reached this first quarter of the map mark, but there goes Fedora Goose. That's a big one to lose for Austria. And the rest of the combos staying intact. There goes Z10A. It's just Z9A for Austria, and look at Norway go. Double FC, Paper Candle on that reverse choke as we get into the kick slider aim section.
Austria dropping their combos, and they're dropping like flies. I mean, they have no sort of attack whatsoever. Meanwhile, on the left side, you're staring down double 99, not even the double 99. You're staring down an SS from none other than Nineric. I mean, what do you even do? That scoreline is racing towards that left side, and it's racing fast. 200k score as we move into the second half of the map. Mavs, I don't think this is it. I do not think this is it.
Yeah, I tried to make the reasoning, you know, I think
we tried to
appeal to Austria. We tried to make it possible. I don't know if it's gonna be. There are combos intact for Austria. It's definitely not out of the question, but we've got about 40 seconds remaining on this map. Nineric does drop the SS. There is still time for Norway to find, you know, a double FC drop here, and Austria all hold, but that time is running thin, and it's almost out as we now approach this final section of the map here, Gabby.
Yeah, 3, 2, 1. The spotlight is on Nineric. The spotlight is on Melba. It's not a question of whether they'll take this match. It's how far can they go. Final screens coming for the players. A bunch of act drops coming in from Melba. But knock, knock. Here comes Nineric. 99.87% accuracy and counting to take this match all the way 5-0 to Norway.
That is going to be GG's for Norway. A very contested match at the start, and one we expected to be very contested on paper, and the first 3 points were very indicative of that. But Norway in those final 2 picks just showing complete and utter dominance. Nineric with a 3-100 FC alongside some incredible scores from his teammates as well on that No Mod 2 speed pick. It was an attempt for Austria to go for that No Mod 2. We did not expect it, and it didn't work out. I think Norway probably are a little unhappy they had to play that one, because I think they probably wanted to save it for China, but now China are going to see their score. So that is what it is for Norway, but they do take the match 5-0 convincingly, and I mean, hey, that's looking like they're in a pretty good position at this point after winning that match to probably go out of this group. So I'll have to see how that goes for them moving forward in the rest of their matches, but very, very well played from Norway. Some huge scores from a lot of the players. Yokes putting up a fantastic score in the Hidden 2. Anthony W on that free mod 1, I believe, and then Eric on that no mod 2. So GG's to them, and good luck to them in their next match, which I believe is China, as you said.
Yeah, no, actually, I believe Norway's next match is going to be at 11 UTC, so about 20 minutes from now. It will be against Thailand, C21 if I'm not mistaken, but me and Mavs will be on the New Zealand versus Indonesia match. We actually have 2 matches coming up in about 20 minutes. It looks like Norway wanted to get it over, done and dusted quick so that they can take a quick break before their next matchup. I mean, any thoughts going into the 2 matchups that we have on hand? I think Norway is really looking to ride the freight train right into Thailand going in about 20